Hello, this is Evangeline. I am glad you guys made it to the course. It is 4-part series on how to retain your hair length. What I'm going to be doing is breaking the series into 4 modules, and I'm going to deliver 2 videos a week, and then everything should be completed in 2 weeks. However, though, you will still have access to all the materials, everything that I put on here, like the checklist, the brochures, like the kit. You're going to have access to it forever, as long as you're within the community. With each module, they are broken down into several lessons. And it's easier that way, because when you put too much information, then it becomes difficult to follow through. So I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, so it doesn't add to your already busy schedule, because this has to be a lifestyle. This has to be part of how you take care of your hair on a regular basis in order for you to see the results. If it's too stressful, chances are you might not continue through, and then you're not going to see the results. Because with this, hair growth, hair length retention all comes from consistency and time. And taking care of your natural hair can be stressful, because as you know, we all have different types of textures, and someone who may have a looser curl pattern may breeze through their own care versus someone who has tighter coils. So first, let me just introduce myself to you. If you haven't seen me before, I'm Evangeline. I am a fashion designer. I ran my fashion designer business for many years, since 2014, and made it true business, I think, in 2016. However, though, quite recently, in the last, I would say 3 years, I've been coming against this tension or resistance of wanting to continue this. I enjoy designing. I enjoy fashion and everything, but just the everyday aspect of running a fashion brand started to get to me. Then it stopped being fulfilling, because God revisited me and called me back onto Him. And so I started to see things differently through the lens of Christ. And pretty much my business started to seem as though it was almost like gimme, because I do a lot of marketing and I do a lot of selling. So it stopped being fulfilling. So I still enjoy designing. I still enjoy creating. That part hasn't left yet. I enjoy putting, art together. I love that part. But the selling part started to get to me, because for somehow I felt like there was nothing fulfilling there. So I started to follow God more and ask Him, like, what do you want me to do now? Because it seems like it's a turning point here. I'm still going to continue doing the fashion piece. However, it's going to take a different turn. Right now, I'm going to be on a pause come March 15th until I can reconsider what God wants me to do in terms of the fashion brand. Also, I'm building this community because that's what He's led me to. And I'm just building like a platform where women can come in, Christian women, and even those who are not Christian, but they can come in and draw from some of the aspect that God is feeding into me, learning experiences that I want to share. So I've built this platform, and that's what we're going to be doing. I'm starting with hair care, because this is a place I can start, a soft jump in a sense. So I am glad that you guys decided to join in. So let's just get to the hair care part. So the first thing I want you to understand is the scalp is the secret sauce. The scalp is where all the things happen before it starts to turn into something like this. So we want to pay close attention to our scalp and make sure the environment that our scalp produces is an environment where healthy hair can thrive. So the first thing I want to debunk is healthy hair does not start from products. Products are not going to shift the way your hair is going to grow, how strong your hair is going to grow. The products are not the beginning or the foundation or the genesis of your healthy hair journey. Now, as I said, the scalp is where everything starts. We have to understand that if the environment, meaning the scalp, is not healthy, it's congested, the hair that is going to push up out of that follicle, it's not going to be strong enough. It's going to be weak, because it's already starting its process at a weak base. So if your scalp is unhealthy, your hair is going to struggle to thrive. It's obvious how we keep the scalp healthy. Most people would think about, wash, but then is how often do you wash your hair? Because if the scalp has built up of oils, butters, sweat, even, it's going to be congested. When the scalp is congested, even before that hair emerges out of the follicles, it's already weak. So you're already starting at a weak base. So the hair that is going to grow out of that follicle, it's not probably going to last for the years that you want to keep your hair. And if it's not going to last, it's going to break off. And that's why you're not seeing the retention, because the hair came out weak, so it can only last for so long. And so it's breaking off faster than new ones are coming in. So you're not going to be able to see the length. So make sure your scalp is clean of oils, sweat, and all the buildup from products that you use. Now, a lot of times people think if you wash your hair frequently, you're going to dry out your hair. And that's where we get into the next part of this module. We're going to look at how often you have to cleanse your hair, how often you have to clarify your hair, and how many times you have to wash, like how many shampoo rounds you have to do. Even though your hair might look clean, because sometimes we look at our hair and we think, oh, it's not dirty yet, so we prolong washing our hair. But keep in mind, because you have a scalp, that scalp is shedding skin. It's reproducing because you're a living being, so your scalp is shedding skin. And as it sheds skin, some of those skins are going to stick in the pores and block your pores. And if those spaces are blocked, it weakens the strands that's going to come through the follicles. So you have to make sure you have a routine of how often you wash your hair. And what I recommend is you wash your hair between every 7 to 10 days. Some people I know, they put wigs on their hair or they braid their hair in a certain way and they're not washing their hair because they think, oh, it's under there, it's growing. No, what's growing under there are weak strands coming through. So they might be long, but it's just a matter of time before they start to snap and break because they're weak. It's coming out of an environment that hasn't given it proper nutrients in order to survive 4, 5 years, 6 years, because it is the strength of the strands that's going to allow you to see retention. Because if the strands are weak, they break off, you're not going to see the length of your hair. The reason I'm recommending 7 to 10 days is because you have to be on a routine. Even if your hair is in braids, you have to be able to wash your hair on this routine, because routine and consistency is what's going to allow the system to work for you. So for example, sometimes we can notice our hair is itchy, flaky, dull, there's no luster to it, or sometimes it feels like a coat is over it, Those are signs to tell your hair is dirty and needs to be washed. In order to not have to deal with all of that, trying to figure out, is my hair dirty or not dirty? That's why I'm recommending that you stick to a routine. So then every 7 days or every 10 days, you're gonna be washing your hair, doing your treatments, your deep conditioning treatment, and then putting in your leave-in. Consistency has been what has allowed me to grow healthy strands. I think it was in 2021, the hair just got so weak. And because at that time I wouldn't understand, it would grow to a certain length and then it would start to break off. It would start to get hard to handle or manage. So I went to a barber shop and I got everything cut off and I went bald for a while. So this time around, I decided if I'm gonna grow my hair back, I'm gonna pay attention and I'm gonna document everything that I'm doing on a regular basis. This way, I'm able to share this information with people who might wanna know. That's why I have all the information now packed, because I was making sure I was keeping track of everything I was doing on a weekly basis. Right now, I wash my hair every week. Anywhere between 5 to 7 days is when I wash my hair. What I did do as well as I'm doing this documenting, I decided to test and see how long I can go without washing my hair, just to kind of see. I was trying to build in an easier format so I don't have to wash my hair like every 5 to 7 days. But when I stopped, when I allowed my hair to go for 2 weeks, when I went back to wash my hair, I lost more hair. My hair started to break off more. So you have to find that sweet spot between 7 to 10 days if you want this to work for you. With my hair, if it goes longer than 7 days, I'm gonna lose hair. So now we move into lesson 3, where we're gonna be talking about overcomplicating. I think that's where a lot of people get all this confusion because they try to do this hair typing thing. Now keep in mind, before this hair typing system was introduced to the natural hair community or even to the hair space, people were growing long hair, people were taking care of their hair and all that. But when they started to go deeper into the science, of course, they started coming up with all these types and giving them labels and giving them names and telling them, oh, if your curls are looser, you have a type A. If they're tighter, then you have a type C and all that. Do not overcomplicate your hair. As long as you have a routine in place, that's all that is important. So maybe the only thing you should focus on, if you must stick to hair typing, would be density, porosity, and your strand thickness. So the density would be how much hair you have on your head. And then the porosity would be how fast your hair can absorb water or moisture. And your hair strands will tell you how fragile or how easy that your hair snaps, because some people have very fine hair. In as much as my hair looks a lot, the strands are very fine, but I have a lot of hair. So the space of which my hair takes up on my scalp is a lot. That would be the density. Now with my porosity, my hair has a very low porosity. It takes a while for my hair to absorb moisture. Make sure you just have those 3 portions that you focus on, because that's the only importance. You want to know how dense your hair is, how fast your hair can absorb moisture, and then also how fragile or strong your strand is. Okay, so let's get into lesson 4, and this will be the section we talk about pre-poo. And I really didn't think this part of the hair care routine was necessary. Trust and believe, I was not doing this. And since I started doing this saved my hair a lot, because I don't get a lot of snaps. I don't get a lot of breakage when when I shampoo my hair on wash days, just because I started doing pre-poos. Every time I wash, before I wash my hair, I prepare my hair for the shampoo. I've also included my recipe that I use, my pre-poo recipe that I use, so you can take that and make that at home. It's a DIY project. It's simple, easy, 3 ingredients because water is included. But it's a simple process, a simple DIY that you can do. And when you create this, you can actually keep it in your refrigerator for, your next wash. What I normally do is I make a big batch of it, and then it will last me for like a month, because I wash my hair at least 4 times a month. I did a video of preparing this mixture, so I'm gonna put it somewhere here in this video so you can see how I make my pre-poo out of flaxseed. Well, you just get some flaxseed. I put a measurement in there, but like, it doesn't matter. The idea is once it boils, it turns into a gel, and that's the gel you're gonna be using to prepare your hair before you shampoo your hair. You boil the water, of course, with the flaxseed in it, and then you strain it out, and we only want the gel. What I do with mine is I put in a few drops of oil. I have a homemade oil, but you can choose any oil of your choice and put that in there if you want to use oil. Doesn't matter if you don't, because flaxseed also has oil, because it's a lot of omega-3. I do put some oil in there just because I want to. After it boils, at least for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, or until you see the mixture turns to a gooey gel type substance, then you strain it and let it sit for at least maybe 5 minutes or so, just so it cool down. Don't let it cool down all the way, because then it becomes a very thick gel and it's difficult to store if you put it in a bottle. Before you use the gel on your hair, you want to dampen your hair. You want to put some water on your hair and dampen the hair. Let the hair be a little damp before you apply the gel to the hair. And when you're applying the gel to the hair, please at this time do not use any tools. The only tools you should be using in this instance will be your fingers. It will allow you to feel for knots, for tangles, so you can gently separate your hair. The whole reason behind doing this pre-poo is because when you get to the shampoo stage, your hair can easily glide, so you're not snapping and breaking your strands off. That's a quick way to not see retention. So you want to make sure you do pre-poo. It makes your wash easy, and it allows the shampoo to go through your hair easy. Not only that, there's a lot of benefits from flaxseed that you can get. What I do with mine, after I put it in my hair, I let it sit. I let the pre-poo sit on my hair for a little while. You get the detangles done. Then maybe when you feel that the hair has a lot of slip and your hands can go through it easy, then maybe you can go in with a wide tooth comb and just gently comb through the hair. I like to put mine in 4 parts just because it makes it easy for me to go through the wash process when it's separated, instead of just doing the whole hair all together. It just makes it easy for me. And then my hair don't break a lot during this process. You will rinse that out, but after the rinse, your hair is going to feel soft, because flaxseed makes the hair softer. It nourishes the hair. And in the kit, while I show you the recipe, I also give you some of the benefits of flaxseed on the hair and what some of the results you expect to see when you start consistently using flaxseed as a pre-poo. After that, then you go into the shampoo stage and you wash your hair. This segment now is for the people who have locks. And though I don't have locks and I've never grown my hair in locks, I want you to understand that scalp care is also just as important as for those who have hair like mine. You have to make sure your scalp is clean. Now, the frequency of how many times you should wash your hair a month, it varies depending on how long you've had your locks, based on the research that I did. So what I've done is I've included a guide where you can see how often you're supposed to wash your locks, and some of the things you can do in between to keep your scalp clean. Because keep in mind, it's still the same theory, it's still the same science that if your scalp is congested, you will have problem with your locks being healthy, and you will have problem with keeping long locks. Okay, so that concludes this module and the lessons in this module. So the next time we reconvene will be on Thursday this week. This module is going to be discussing mainly the cleansing phase, the things you need to do, the shampoo and things like that. We're going to touch on that. But if you want to go ahead, the lessons are all available out there. Maybe you want to check it out before we meet back again on Thursday, and we're going to discuss the lessons in module 2. Hopefully so far you've gotten some insight so you can understand that your hair growth starts at your scalp. That's the place we need to be looking first. Forget about products right now. I will share some products that I use, but products right now is not the issue. We need to focus on our routines and our techniques, and then we'll talk about products in future videos. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.